Dear learners, welcome. The purpose of this video is to improve your listening skills, and it helps you understand the story by providing vocabulary. There are also some comprehension questions, and a quick competition that you can answer. By the way, enjoy this video, and I hope you like the story. Okay, let's begin. Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. Vocabulary Review. Chapter 1. Collect. To bring something together from different places. Dig up. To remove something from the ground by digging. Sail. A sheet of material attached to a pole on a boat to catch the wind and make the boat move. Kelp. A large brown plant that grows in the sea, used in some foods and medicines. Hunt. To chase and try to catch and kill an animal for food, sport, or profit. Otter. A mammal with 4 legs and short brown fur that swims well and eats fish. Tent. A shelter made of a large sheet of canvas that is supported by poles and ropes fixed to the ground, and used for camping. Shellfish. Sea creatures that live in shells and are eaten as food. Supper. A main meal eaten in the evening. Spear. A weapon with a long wooden handle and a sharp metal point used for fighting, hunting and fishing. Chapter 1. The Red Whale. It was a spring morning when the Aloyd ship came to our island. At first it was just a spot, like a small shell, on the sea. It came nearer and grew larger. Now it was like a bird on the water. At last, I saw it clearly. Then I knew what it was. It was a red ship with 2 red sails. My brother and I were collecting plants near the beach. We were looking for plants that only grew there in the spring. My brother, Ramo, was 6 years old, and I was 12. He was small for his age and very clever. But he forgot about his work when he was excited. I wanted his help now, and so I said nothing about the shell and the bird. I continued to dig up plants with my stick. But Ramo's eyes did not miss very much. They were large, black eyes, and they sometimes looked sleepy. That was the time when they saw the most. They were half closed now. The sea is smooth, Ramo said. It is a smooth stone without marks on it. The sea is not a stone without marks, I said. It is water without waves. To me it is a blue stone, he said. And today a small cloud is sitting just above the stone. I knew then that Ramo could also see the ship. Clouds do not sit on stones, I said. This cloud does. Not on the sea, I said. Dolphins and birds sit there, and whales too. But clouds do not. Ramo was watching the ship. He did not know that it was a ship. I knew because I once heard my father's description of a ship. I remembered his words now. Perhaps it is a big dolphin or a whale, Ramo said. While you are looking at the sea, I said, I am digging up plants. I'll have plants to eat, but you won't have any. Ramo began to dig, but he was not looking at the earth. The ship with the red sails came closer. Do you know what a red whale looks like? He asked. Yes, I replied, but that was a lie. There are no red whales. I only know about gray whales, Ramo said. You are very young. You do not know everything that swims in the sea. It's a boat. Ramo cried suddenly. A big red boat. He ran away through the long grass, shouting with excitement. I was even more excited than Ramo. I knew that it was a ship. It was not just a large boat. Was it bringing good news to the island, or was it bringing trouble? I wanted to drop my stick and follow Ramo. But I did not. The plants were needed in the village. The Aloyd ship sailed past the wide kelp bed around our island. Then it passed between the rocks and came towards the beach. The people of the village already knew that a ship was on its way. Our men were running towards the sea and the women were standing on the cliffs. My bag was full of plants, and so I walked quickly away from the sea. I hid myself in the long grass on the cliff top and looked down to the white sand. Half of our men were waiting by the sea. The rest of them were hidden between the rocks at the foot of the path. They were ready to attack the visitors if they were unfriendly. 7 men left the ship in a small boat. 6 were Alus, with large, flat faces and long black hair. The 7th man was tall, with a yellow beard, and he was standing in the boat. My father often talked about Russians. They came from the north, and our people feared them. Perhaps this tall man with a beard was a Russian. The boat landed on the beach. The tall man jumped out and shouted something to the others. The sound of the words quite strange to me. I knew then that he was a Russian. He talked to our men in our language. "I am a friend," he said slowly, "and I want to talk to you." My father walked towards him. "I am the chief of Galazet," he said. "My name is Chief Chovig." I was surprised that he gave his real name to a stranger. We all had 2 names. Our real names were secret and very special, so we did not often use them. Everyone called me One Parley, the girl with the long black hair. But my secret name is Karana. My father's secret name was Chovig. The man smiled and held up his hand. "My name is Orlov," he said. "I have come with 40 men to hunt sea otter. We want to stay on your island for the summer." My father said nothing. This was not the Aloits' first visit to our island. Long ago they came to hunt sea otter, and my father remembered this. "You remember another hunt?" Orlov said, when my father did not reply. "I know about that too. There was trouble because your people did all the work." "That is true," my father said. "We did not rest for many months. This time my men will catch the otter," Orlov said. "And we will each take some of the skins. You will have 1 part, and we shall have 2 parts. I will buy your part from you." "Our part has to be the same as yours," my father said. Orlov looked towards the sea. "We can talk of that later," he said. "There is going to be a storm. I want to bring things from the ship." "We should agree now," my father said. The Russian pulled his beard. "The sea is not yours," he said. "Why do I have to give you any part?" My father answered, "The sea around the island of the Blue Dolphins belongs to us." "From here to the coast of Santa Barbara?" Orlov asked. "That is 60 miles. "No. Only the sea that touches the island is ours. And that is where the otter live." Our men were standing together on the sand now. Orlov looked at them and suddenly smiled at my father. "The parts will be the same," he agreed. "There is a strong wind almost every day on our island. Sometimes it comes from the northwest and sometimes from the east. Because these winds are so strong, trees cannot grow tall and straight. Even in the ravines there are only a few small trees. Sometimes in summer a kinder wind comes from the south." Our village, Galazet, was on the east side of the island. It was near the beach and good drinking water. There is another small stream a mile to the north of the village. And there the Alus put up their tents. That evening my father talked to our people. "The ways of the Alus, and their language, are different from ours," he said. "They have come here to catch otter. We will give them our part of the skins. And they will give us things which we can use. This will be good for us. But we are not their friends, and they cannot be ours." Many years ago, other hunters came and made trouble. And they were also Alus. So, we did not go near the Alus, and the Alus did not come to our village. Of course, We soon knew everything that they did. Some of our men watched from the cliffs while they were hunting. We counted the otter that they killed each day. And someone was always watching their tents. Our men watched the beach, too. Ramo said, "The Russian sits on a rock and brushes his beard every morning. He brushes it until it shines like the inside of a shell." One day my older sister, Eulape, said that there was an Aloit girl with the hunters. "She dresses just like the men," Eulape said. "But she wears a hat made of animal skin. Under the hat she has thick hair that falls to her waist." Nobody believed Eulape. We all laughed at the idea that a woman was living with the hunters. We knew that hunters never took their wives with them. Of course, the Alus were watching us too, and we discovered this fact quite by chance. At that time of year, we were never able to catch many fish because the heavy seas drove them into deep waters. So, we did not have much to eat. One day Eulape went to some rocks where she hoped to find shellfish. She found some and then began to walk home. Suddenly she heard a loud noise behind her. She looked back and saw silvery shapes moving near the rocks. She knew that they were large white fish, each as big as she was. They were trying to swim away from killer whales. Near the beach the water was not very deep, and sudden waves were throwing the fish onto the rocks. Eulape dropped her bag of shellfish and ran fast to the village. She was too tired to talk when she arrived. The women were cooking the evening meal. They all stopped work and waited for Eulape to say something. "Fish," she said at last. "Where? Where?" everyone asked. "On the rocks. About 10 of them. Perhaps more," said Eulape. All the women ran towards the rocks. Perhaps the fish were already jumping back into the sea. We came to the cliff and looked down. The fish were there, but the sea was high. Waves were already coming over the rocks. We pulled the fish onto higher ground, where the sea could not reach them. They were very big and heavy, so 2 women had to carry each fish. There were enough fish for everyone for supper that night and the next. But in the morning 2 Alus came to the village and asked to speak to my father. "You have fish," one of them said to my father. "We have enough to feed my people," he answered. "You have 14 fish," the Aloit said. "7 now, because we have eaten 7. You can give us 2. "There are 40 men in your tents," my father replied. "But there are more than 40 of us. You have your own fish. You brought dried fish when you came." "We are tired of dried fish," the Aloit said. "You are hunters," my father said. "Catch fresh fish if you are tired of dried ones. I have to look after my people. If you refuse to give us some, I shall tell Orlov." "Tell him," my father said. "And tell him our reasons too." That night we ate the rest of the fish, and we were all very happy. We ate and sang, and the old men told stories around the fire. We did not know that our luck was going to bring us trouble. Every day, the Alus hunted otter. They tied the dead animals to their boats. And at night they brought them back to the island. The otter is different from other animals in the sea. It has 4 small feet, and it can swim very fast. Its coat is thick and beautiful. It likes to lie on its back in the kelp beds and play or sleep in the sun. Using long spears, the Alus killed these happy animals for their skins. And at night they skinned the animals and cut the meat from the bodies. Dead otter covered the beach, and the sea was red with their blood. Every night, our people went to the cliff and counted the skins. But I never went there. I was angry when I saw the Alus spears. The otter were my friends, and I loved them. I enjoyed watching them playing in the waves. One morning I talked to my father. "The Alus have killed most of the otter," I said. The kelp beds around here are almost empty now. My father laughed. There are lots of otter in other places, he said. They will come back when the hunters leave. The hunters will kill them all, I said. This morning they are looking for them on the south coast. Next week they will move to another place. Next week the Alus will be ready to go home, he replied. My father knew that the hunters were almost ready to leave. Some of our young men were, following his instructions, building a boat. They were making it from a large piece of wood that they found on the beach. There are only a few small trees on the island, but sometimes the waves carried a dead tree onto the sand. We usually brought the wood to the village, and our men made the boat there. This time they were building it on the beach. And at night they slept near it. We all knew the reason. Our men were watching the Alus. Was Orlov going to pay us for the skins? Or was he planning to leave in the night? Comprehension questions. 1. Who is Karana? 2. When does the Aloy ship come to the island? 3. What do Orlov and his men want from Chief Chovig? 4. What does Ulape do when she sees large white fish? 5. When the two Alus come to the village and demand some fish from Chief Chovig, what does the chief answer them? Quick competition. Read the sentences below and find the correct adjective, adverb, or verb used in the story. 1. He, blank, through the long grass, shouting with excitement. Ran off or ran away. 2. I, blank, that he gave his real name to a stranger. Was surprised or was shocked. 3. My father answered, the sea, blank, the island of the Blue Dolphins belongs to us, over or around. 4. She knew that they were large white fish, each as, blank, as she was. Big or small. 5. We did not know that our luck was going to bring us, blank. Anxiety or trouble. Thank you for listening to this chapter. Now, read the comprehension questions again, and try to find the answers in the story. Then, do the quick competition part. Also, the answers are in the explanation part of the video. Check out your answers over there. Moreover, don't forget to subscribe for the new episodes. If you like this chapter, click the like button. To make this project more effective and beneficial, let me know in the comments below.